Hello. Sorry, I'm sick. Um, I had a bit of an issue with the last video, and God, it made me so mad. Also, it's like really, it's, I don't sleep very much, regardless of the day. Last night, I tried to go to bed at like a normal time, and I just laid there until 5 in the morning. And then I started hearing like the Donkey Kong theme in my head, and then I realized that sleep wasn't gonna come. So, and like that's a usual occurrence in my life, so it's not that big a deal. But it's sort of like it's why I'm up here pretty early in the morning, so it's really sunny. So I'm sorry if it's really bright and if things look weird because of that. But yeah, the sun will move. It'll go up further. I can always pull down the shade, but I don't know. It might make it too dark. But anyway, we had some issues. The royal we, um, in that basically the last video was pretty long and it took up a lot of space on my phone, and like you should just be able to move files, but you can't. And it's stupid. It's like, I don't know. First I just tried like normal Windows, just like file transfer, and it's always like the device is unreachable, blah, blah, blah. And then I tried iTunes, and iTunes is just like garbage software, and it always has been. So I don't know why I thought that would work, but that gave me like a few catastrophic errors, which is usually just like registry or like you're not in administrative mode, I think. I don't really remember very well, but like it was stupid and I couldn't do it, and it took me that was like last week, and it took me forever. And I finally did it this morning because I was like, oh, I gotta have something to do today because I've been up, and I like I said. And like I know it might seem a little weird, but I do enjoy doing these videos. So like when my phone fucks me over, and I don't even know if it's the phone, it might just be my computer. But when that happens, it's so irritating. And it's like I'm just poor and I don't have storage on my phone is basically what it is. And like I said, I'm not going to buy a video camera. And most of my computer knowledge is based around things other than video editing, so I'm not really the best at it, as you can probably tell. But I was just really mad. And remember last video, where I was like, where I like halfway through I stopped and I was like the video wasn't recording, and like I was positive that it was, and then but it like there was no video. For some reason it like loaded after I finished the second redo, as like it was taunting me. It was like, all right, you finished doing it over, now you can look at it. I was so mad. I was so mad. Like, why do that? What is like the most unuser friendly object in the world, and it's designed for us to use every second of our lives, and it's a piece of shit, and it's because they're too cheap. And it's not even like I'm like anti-phone, it's just like, just make them work. Why do you have to? I get it, like they want money and they're greedy assholes, but just like make it work. Whatever. I'm gonna start the video because I'm gonna get way too mad and I'll just rant for like half an hour about how I hate Apple and most other things. You know, we gotta start. We gotta start kicking some ass. Let's see. Oh yeah, we're starting a new year. We're starting 1983. This video is probably gonna be, I don't know. I'm really not sure. The last video was pretty long. It's basically just like how many tangents I go on. And I don't know. I don't know if if that's good or not. So we'll see. Um, so yeah. So the first one is Rapunzel. Rapunzel. I'm just gonna check if it's recording. Just for you know why. If you're a loyal fan, you know why. So the first one is Rapunzel, and it's Rapunzel up in the top of her tower. And she's put her hair like she has big hair, like 80s big hair. But she's Rapunzel, so she got a lot of hair, so it's like this giant meatball hair sphere. It's like bigger than her, but it's up. Her hair is up now, and someone from outside the window is saying, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," but like it means something else. You know what it means. It's referring to the actual letting down of hair instead of using it as a rope. This one is a man, and he's an island. Like he's got like huts on him, and there's villagers living on him, and he's floating in the ocean, and but he's really mad, and he doesn't want them there, and it says no man is an island. This is two crocodiles relaxing. They've just killed someone, and they've just killed like a kayaker, I guess. And they're saying, one of them is saying, "That was incredible. No fur, claws, horns, antlers, or nothing. Just soft and pink." So they haven't encountered a human before. And the thing about humans is that we're adapted for tool use. And these not necessarily for defense against large archosaurs, but like the thing about crocodile, I don't know. I think these crocodiles, enjoy the ecological collapse, I guess. This one is a man has fallen into the gorilla enclosure at the zoo. And the gorillas are saying, well, looks like it's time for the old luggage test. I don't know what that means. I assume they're gonna kill the guy, because that's what most of them are about. But, like, I don't know. I don't know what the luggage test means. Doesn't sound good. I don't think gorillas are very friendly when you fall in their enclosure, or any time, really. This one is, a guy, a Tarzan-esque figure riding an elephant, but he's got a novelty air horn. This one's the Pied Piper, and he's coming home to his house, and I suppose his wife is there, and she's saying, like, he's just come in the door with all the rats, like he's led the rats to his house, and she's saying, well, don't bring the filthy things in here, you imbecile. Take them down to the lake. So, I guess the Pied Piper originally wasn't gonna kill the rats. He was just gonna, like, bring them home. And his wife wouldn't let him. This one is sad. It's two lumberjacks have just cut down this giant tree, and they're counting the rings. And there's, like, this gash in the wood, like in the middle of the rings, and one of them is saying, and see this ring right here, Jimmy? That's another time when the old fella miraculously survived some big forest fire. So, like, they're talking about how this tree, like, against all odds, survived to live to this old age, and they've cut it down. Like I said, adapted for tool use. Ecological collapse. This one is, a man playing piano, and there's a bunch of musical notes coming out of the piano, and they're getting caught on one of those hanging fly strips. We've talked about them, I think, twice previously. But, like, they're flies, kind of. Like, they're getting caught like flies. This one, if you've ever been to a restaurant, They got the boneless chicken. Um, this is the boneless chicken ranch. So it's the ranch where the boneless chickens come from, and they're all like flopping over the place because they don't have any bones. So they're like normal chickens. They just don't have bones. It's not like they take the bones out after they kill them. They're just these. This comic suggests that the chickens are naturally this way. This one is Tarzan swinging on a vine, and when he jumped to another vine to swing onto that one, it turned out to be a hanging snake, and the snake is like swallowing his head. So I guess the snake got him. Not looking good. The next one is a warthog party, and there's this, I guess he's supposed to be attractive, but there's these two female warthogs. I don't know, wart sows. I don't know. But there's one of them is saying to the other one, well, look who's here. God's gift to warthogs. Maybe it's a sarcastic comment. I don't know. But there's this warthog in the back, and he looks pretty confident. He's wearing like normal clothes. He's smoking. And he's got a drink. He's got two drinks. Or that one might not be his. I don't know. I don't want to spend any more time. This one is a cow has just crashed a tractor into the barn, and it looks really embarrassed. Like it wasn't supposed to be driving the tractor, I assume. And the farmer and his wife are coming out, and they look pretty mad. And it says, with a reverberating crash, Lulu's adventure on the tractor had come to an abrupt end. So Lulu, the cow, stole this tractor and crashed it into the barn, and yeah. This one is the aftermath of a duel. And one of the guys has been shot, and we see his killer in the background with the smoking gun. And I guess like the mediator, I don't know what you call the person that like judges the duel. I don't know. But that guy is like listening to the dying guy. And the dying man is saying, I could have sworn you said 11 steps. So I guess the other guy cheated. But I don't know, 11 seems like a weird number. Maybe he just didn't understand. Maybe he just got it wrong. This one is it's a Christmas themed comic. This child has opened the X500. It's just like a rocking horse, and it says he's our best advanced model. And he's like gone through the wall. So I guess he rocked too hard. And you know, we all rock too hard sometimes, but he's rocked too hard on the rocking horse and went into the wall, like went through the drywall. Yeah. This one is a bunch of buffaloes, and it's a couple in bed at night, and their bed has also got a lot of buffaloes in it. And the woman is saying, for heaven's sake, Harold, wake up, we've got bed buffaloes. This one is Frankenstein and Igor, and they're working on the monster, and like they're screwing in the bolts in the neck. And Frankenstein is saying, fool, this is an 11/16. I asked for a 5/8, so Igor gave Frankenstein the wrong wrench. But he has another wrench on hand, so I think the situation is under control. I think Frankenstein's being a little hard on Igor. This one is a plane flying into a giant nose in the sky, and it says mistakenly flying into the nose of a hurricane instead of an eye. I remember the next comic, and I think it's really funny. It's one of my favorite Far Sides. It's like a classroom, and there's like the teacher has a big poster of a cow, and it's labeled, and there's a label that says cow with an arrow pointing to the cow, and a man in the back of the class is raising his hand, and the professor, the teacher, is saying, "Yes, I believe there's a question there in the back." So I think the joke is just like, what question would you have? But regardless, I think this is one of the best comics. I think it's very funny. It's very well done. This is another caveman one. So it's a human cave couple, and they live next door to a bear cave couple, and the bears are fighting. But the cave woman human is listening with, like, you hold the glass up to the wall and you can hear what people are talking about on the other side. She's doing that, and her husband is mad, and he's saying, "There you go again. Every time the bears fight, you're right there." So every time these bears have an argument, she listens, and I guess her husband thinks that's sort of a breach of privacy. Or maybe he dislikes it for different reasons, but I don't know. This one is called The Evolution of the Stick Man. So it's like it starts off as a stick snake, then a stick lizard, then like a stick bipedal stick lizard, and then like it gradually gets more and more human-esque, but it still has a tail until the seventh one. The eighth one has like a spear, so I guess it's like the caveman stick figure. And then the last one is a smiling stick man with a hat and a briefcase, and he's waving, and shoes. I don't know what this one is about. It might be a reference to something. It's a guy sitting in a chair with a ukulele, and he has a like a chalkboard next to him, and he's written "dogs, fleas, my has." He's crossed that out, and then "my has, fleas, dogs," and then that's crossed out, and the next one that I guess he's gonna check is "fleas, my dog has." I assume he's trying to get to "my dog has fleas," but like I don't know why. I don't know what the ukulele is about. Is that a song that I just don't know? He's tuning the ukulele. He looks really mad. So if you get it, congratulations. I hope I've done enough. This one is a man on a bench feeding birds, and there's some squirrels watching, and I guess the squirrels are gonna approach to try to get him to feed them. And like the lead squirrel is saying, "Okay, here we go. Remember, wiggle those noses, stuff those cheeks, and act cute. And no smoking, Carl." So Carl has a problem with smoking that could jeopardize their mission. Other than that, I think as long as this old man likes squirrels as well as birds, I think they're gonna be okay. This guy is a black belt, and he's chopping bricks in half with his hand as like a martial art trick. But behind him, a brick wall is falling on him, and he hasn't noticed, but he's in the middle of a field. So, I don't know. Like, I understand why he doesn't notice, and like what's gonna, like, it's just like the bricks. He's chopping bricks with his hand, but a brick wall is falling on him. Perhaps in revenge. I don't know, but like I don't know why there's a brick wall in the middle of a field. Maybe that's where he got the bricks, but there doesn't seem to be any bricks taken out of the wall. So, That's a perplexing one. This one is a bunch of rhinos with numbers on them, and this man, or no, yes, this man is being given the first place rhino trophy. I guess it's just like a dog show, because this is another one where there's just like the rhinos are dogs, or like domestic animals. This one is another like small cowboy picking a fight with a big cowboy. Classic format. And it's this cowboy is speaking to a giant cowboy sitting next to him who has a repeater rifle on the table, and he's saying, "Say, now there's a little hat," because the big cowboy's got a little hat. But like, I bet he knows he's got a little hat. Maybe he doesn't mind. Maybe he's just gonna be like, "Yeah, I like a little hat," and they can be friends. Not everyone needs a big hat. Um, this one's a um, this one is a kid who has just invented this giant monster robot, and he's turning it in as his metal shop final, and the metal shop teacher hasn't noticed yet. I don't know how the kid got it in the door, but he's saying, "My project's ready for grading, Mr. Big Nose. Hey, I'm talking to you, Squid Brain." So, like, this kid is very confident because I guess he doesn't like his metal shop teacher. So, for his I guess he's really good at metal shop because he invented this giant monster robot. And I guess it's just gonna kill the shop teacher. Um, Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, that's not like I'm not saying it's simple. I'm just saying that's what it is. Um this one is two pilots. We're our perspective is behind them in the airplane cockpit, and it through the windows we see like the clouds are clearing and there's a mountain goat, and they're saying, "Say, what's a mountain goat doing way up here in a cloud bank?" So like they're gonna fly into a mountain and crash, but they're not too bright, or at least the co-pilot is not, and thinks that there's just a mountain goat in the clouds. Um, um, this one, I like this one. This one's a guy. He's about to turn the corner. He's on like a city street, and he's just walking down the street, and like he's at the corner of the street, and coming around the corner of the street is just like a giant bird, like a giant duck or chicken or something, a giant bird leg. Like the foot is bigger than him. It's huge, and he hasn't noticed it yet. And it says Harold would have been on his guard, but he thought the old gypsy woman was speaking figuratively. Um, So Harold went to see like this Roma fortune teller, and she told him that a giant bird was gonna come and crush him, and he was like, "Oh, I guess that's figurative." So he's not worried about the bird, but here it is. The bird has arrived. This one is Al's Glass Bottom Tours, like a boat, like a glass bottom boat, so you can see underneath the boat, but it's sunk, and the people are like trapped inside, and you can see them in the glass, and they're all screaming because they're gonna drown, and there's fish looking at them, like it's like the the glass bottom tour is now for the fish to see these dying humans. Um, I'm very hungry and very cold and very sick. Um, this one is two lions. Well, it's a bunch of lions, and they're eating a dead antelope, and there's some vultures watching them. But one of them is saying, you know, I think I'd like a salad. Um, this one is an inaccurate caveman comic. It's a bunch of Homo sapiens and they're mocking Neanderthals. Um, and it says Neanderthal can't make fire, can't make spear, nya nya nya. So like they're mocking the unevolved nature of the Neanderthals. But as I'm sure many people know, this comic is a little outdated. We now know that Neanderthals were quite capable, probably just as smart as we were. However, their body type probably impacted their inability to spread outside of their normal environment. Whereas the Homo sapien is more adaptable, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they're just not lucky. We bred with them. I've got Neanderthal DNA in me. This one is Lewis and Clark at a bar, and they're waving at two women, and it says Lewis and Clark meet Sylvia and Rhonda. I don't think Sylvia and Rhonda like them. This one is two guys and they're climbing up what they think is a cliff, but it's actually a giant coiled snake. And one of them is saying, "Freeze, Earl, freeze!" Something rattled. So they know there's a snake nearby, but they don't know the capacity to which there is a snake nearby. This one is another, like, I guess it's like a pickup card artist I don't know. It's called Animals and Their Mating Songs, and one of them's a human, and that's the joke. But the first one is like a bug, and it's going ch-ch-ch-ch-ch-ch, and the next one is a frog, and it goes Uraka, Uraka. The next one is a jellyfish, and it says yee wah wah wah. The next one's another bug, and it says icky 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 icky. The next one is a bird, and it says Kio, Kio. And then the last one's a guy at a bar, and he looks kind of shady, and it says, hey, baby. Hey, baby. I like this one a lot. This one's, it's two scientists at like a crowded dance club, and they have a jar on they're not dancing. Almost everyone else is dancing. Like the dance floor is crowded, and they're seated at a table, and they have a jar that's labeled Bob, like a normal sized jar on their table, but the lid has been taken off, and one of them is saying, I don't like this Wadsworth. Bob never should have been allowed out on the dance floor. So like they have this tiny little man named Bob or something. They have a small creature named Bob that they keep in a jar, and they brought him to the club, I guess. They let him out. They were like, "Okay, Bob." But now they're having second thoughts because Bob is small and he's out there on the dance floor and he might get crushed. We can't see Bob. We just know that he's somewhere on the dance floor. Probably. Maybe not doing so well. I don't like the Tarzan ones. I like the caveman ones a lot better, and they're basically the same. But this one is like Tarzan. With three elephants, and I think it's Tarzan. I don't know if this is what Tarzan does, but a Tarzan-esque figure like before, riding he's leading three elephants through the city, and there's a guy rollerblading with like a Walkman, and he's got headphones on, he's listening to music, and he's like grooving along. doesn't know what's going on, and he's about to get hit by the elephants, and it says Brian has a rendezvous with destiny. So I guess that's Brian, and he's gonna get crushed. I like this one too. This is two women in a house. They're just seated in easy chairs and they're looking out the window. And outside there's like this giant monster guy. His name is Stanley. And in his teeth, he's holding a little boy by like the scruff of his or not. He's holding a little boy by his shirt, but like the shirt is in his teeth. The little boy is like the size of his head. So Stanley's pretty big. And he looks pretty, like, I don't know if he's gonna eat the boy. I don't know. But the caption says, it's the two women talking and looking at Stanley. And one of them says, well, here comes Stanley now. Good heavens. What's he caught this time? So Stanley, I don't know if he's related to these women. I don't know if they're associated with him. They could just, like, live nearby and know about him. But I guess he just, like, catches people, does something with them. But they don't seem that concerned. Maybe he's just like a friendly giant monster man that doesn't know human manners. I don't know. This one's a moose. I like this one. This one's funny. This one, so it's a moose and he's shoving a hunter. And it says, Carl shoves Roger. Roger shoves Carl, and tempers rise. So, like, this moose and this hunter met in the woods, and they don't like each other for obvious reasons. So they're just shoving each other back and forth angrily. And they're just getting madder and madder. And something bad is probably gonna happen. God, I don't like the sun. I think it's overrated. The next one is a bunch of vultures. One of them's dressed as a cowboy. I guess they've killed, or not killed, but like a cowboy's died in the desert and they're eating it. And one of them is saying, hey, look at me, everybody. I'm a cowboy. Howdy, howdy, howdy. So they're having some fun with the remains of the cowboy. This one's a chef, and he's about to put a lobster into a boiling pot of water, and the lobster is trying to talk his way out of it, and the lobster is saying, 3 wishes. Did I say 3 wishes? Shoot, I'll grant you 4 wishes. But the chef doesn't look too impressed. I don't think he's gonna let the lobster go. The next one's a really old snake who has 2 tire tracks, like treads in his back, like he got run over. But he's still alive. And he's talking to some young snakes. And he's saying, again, oh, all right. One warm summer evening many years ago, I was basking on a stretch of Interstate 95 not far from here. So he got run over. And they want to hear the story. This one is that cricket from the old cartoons with the hat. I think I get the reference, but I don't know it enough to like accurately say what it is. But basically there's this bug collector scientist. I guess he's like an entomologist. Entomologist, not an etymologist. An entomologist. And he's got a bunch of bugs in jars, and one of them is the field cricket, but the field cricket's got like a hat and gloves and shoes. And we can't see its face but I'm pretty sure it's a reference to that bug from the cartoons. Maybe not. I don't know. This one is a bunch of cows, but they look like dinosaurs. Like one of them's a cow stegosaurus. One of them's like a sauropod eating stuff in the water. I don't know why. Maybe it's like a plesiosaur cow, but then it wouldn't be what I just said. And this one, then there's like cow pterodactyl, cow pterosaurs. I don't know the more broad name, but flying. And it says 65 million years ago when cows ruled the earth. This one is an elephant in a telephone booth, and his leg has been cut off, and he's got a crutch, and he's on the phone, and he's saying, "What? They turned it into a wastebasket?" So they made his foot into a wastebasket. I guess they do that. I don't know. What. I don't know. Is that like ivory? But then no, I don't know what the foot is. Elephant's foot? Maybe. I know that the elephant's foot at Chernobyl. I don't know what I vaguely remember hearing something. I don't know. I understand it. I just can't really explain it. Because I don't understand it a lot. And I think you are probably on the same page. They turned his foot into a wastebasket and he's mad. This one's a kid coming home to his house, and his mom has answered the door, and he has this monster alien thing coming out of his mouth, like a tentacled plant with eyes. And his mom is saying, "Well, just look at you, Jimmy, soaking wet, hair mussed up, shoes untied, and take that horrible thing out of your mouth." This is a bunch of soldiers besieging a castle, but they all have they all have targets on them, like ringed targets. And one of them is saying, and they're getting decimated by archers because they got these targets on them. And one of them is saying, "What did I say, Boris? These new uniforms are a crock." So I guess their feudal lord had the idea to paint targets on them as his symbol. But it's not working out. I'm gonna check to see if it's recording again. It will still. Okay, it is. That's good. It's not very. I don't feel very good. This one's a clown talking to a woman. I've seen this clown before. This is the same clown that put the plunger on the bald guy's head. And now he's on a date. Well, he's meeting a woman. And I guess it's I don't know, their first date? I don't know. Or maybe they just met. But I don't know. But she's saying, and I like honesty in a relationship. I'm not into playing games. But it's a clown. So I think it's not gonna go very well. Because he's a clown. And I don't think he's gonna take the relationship very seriously. I like this one. This one's a guy at a car dealership, and he's about to buy a car made entirely out of sticks. And he's about to sign, and it says Andrew is hesitant, remembering his fiasco with the car of straw. So I guess Andrew keeps going to this car dealership and getting scammed into buying cars made of things that you shouldn't build cars out of. I don't think there's a connection to the Three Little Pigs, but it seems like there is, because he's on the stick car. The first car was a straw car. So if he gets a brick car next, maybe he won't have a problem. This is a bug beetle, two beetles at home. One of them is a male, one of them is a female, I assume. The man is reading a newspaper. His name is Charles, and his wife is leaving him. And there's a bunch of like maggot grub things. And she's saying, I'm leaving you, Charles, and I'm taking the grubs with me. This one's too, well, it's, a woman has come home from purchasing groceries to her home, but there's like one of those traps where when you step in the rope hoop, it like pulls you into the air. And her goldfish have appear to have set it up because they're saying it worked. But I don't know what they're gonna do now. I guess they already got out of the bowl to set up the trap. So, I don't know, but her goldfish are plotting against her. And they're doing a pretty good job, I guess. This one's a spider, and basically it fucked up its web. And it's saying, whoa, that can't be right. And it's not. Like, it just made a bad web design. This one's a flower, and all its petals are gone, and it's yelling at another flower, and it's saying Gesundheit. So like the other flower sneezed, knocked all its petals off, and it's mad. This one's an elephant coming out of the, well, it's two like safari explorers looking at an elephant coming out of the brush, and the elephant has a knife. And one of them is saying, not too close, Higgins. This one's got a knife. I like that one. This one's another big man, small man thing. It's just like there's a small guy upstairs listening to music loudly. And there's a giant man who like fills up his entire apartment. He's so large downstairs, trying to read a newspaper, and he's called the man upstairs to complain. And the small man upstairs is saying, well, why don't you come up here and make me turn it down? Or do you just talk big fellow? So like he doesn't know that this guy is massive, and that like if he doesn't turn down his music and threatens him, he could really do some damage. So there's a clear villain in this one, and it's the small man. I like that because I think the big men of the far side have been treated a little unfairly. They've been seen as kind of violent, and in this one, like he just like politely called and was like, "Hey, can you turn your music down?" And this guy was like, "Fuck you!" So I don't care what happens to the small man. I hope the big man kills him. The next one is a guy looking out a window, and he's talking to his wife, and there's a bunch of pianos falling. I guess it's raining pianos. And he's saying, my word, I'd hate to be caught outside on a day like this. This one is two aliens flying away from the viewer, but on the back of their spaceship it says, wash me. So like some other space being wrote wash me in the dust on their spaceship as a joke. This one's a bunch of worms running away from a giant robin's beak that's like crashing into the ground to find them and eat them, and it says Night of the Robin. I guess it's like a horror movie for worms. This one is a mad scientist type guy, and he's got the head of a fly, and he's like experimenting, and he's downstairs, and his wife has come down, and she's saying, lunch is ready, Lawrence. And what? You're still a fly? So he's been a fly. Lawrence has been a fly for a while, and his wife is getting sick of it. And you know, I get it. Wouldn't want to be married to a fly. Like maybe briefly. If I was married, if my husband like turned himself into a fly briefly, I would be fine with it. But, like, I wouldn't want it forever. So I should see where she's coming from. But I think Lawrence is working on it. Because he really does seem to be experimenting. And she doesn't seem mad. She just seems kind of, like, surprised. Or, like, peeved. I don't think she's mad at him. I think it's just like, you're still a fly. Like, you still haven't gotten out of bed yet. Maybe this is part of his day. I don't know. Good luck to you, Lawrence. I'm gonna turn the page. This one is just, okay, it's a butterfly has just emerged from its chrysalis and just immediately flown into a spider web. Like, the spider web is right next to the cocoon, and the butterfly looks mad, because, obviously. This one is a caveman in the jungle. And the caption is primitive man discovers tools. And it's just like this caveman has stumbled upon a hardware store called Al's Hardware in the middle of the jungle. This one is two fawns playing a joke on their mom, where one of them is pretending to have its head mounted on two trees. And the other one is saying, okay, now don't move, Andy, here comes mom. So they're gonna prank their mom into thinking that her son Andy was killed and his head mounted on a plaque to scare her. This one's a rhino. It's okay, so it's like it's like a detective has just opened a closet, and a dead rhino with a knife in its back has fallen out of the closet, and the detective it's like a room full of people, but the detective is saying, blast! Up to now, the rhino is one of my prime suspects. I'll tell you who did it. It was the cow. This one is a frog fish thing. Okay, it's 5 panels. The caption is another great moment in evolution. The first panel, the amphibious life form is on one side, is on the left side of like a little island or like a rock in the water. And the second panel, it looks to its left. The third panel, it looks to its right, like to see that no one's watching. And then in the fourth panel, it quickly runs across the rock onto the other side, and then in the fifth panel, it's on the right side. This one is 2 amoebas breaking up. I guess, like, they are actually, I don't know, maybe they're, like, maybe it's not a romantic situation, but an amoeba is about to split in 2, like it's asexually reproducing, and it's saying, no, Elizabeth, no, don't go, as if, like, the other half of the amoeba is its partner, and it says life in the petri dish. I don't know about that one. This one is, it takes place at Al's metal compacting, and it's like, so this, like, crane is lifting one of those cubes. You know how they crush the cars into cubes? So it's lifting a metal cube, but falling out of the cube is like a heart locket watch thing, you know, from The Wizard of Oz at the end, when the fucking liar wizard guy gives everyone like a little trinket to make sure he can escape, and like he's like, you got a heart, and he gives him like a ticking heart-shaped clock thing. Anyway, that is falling out of this cube because as we and one of the workers at Al's Metal Compacting have noticed, the cube is not a crushed car, it's the Tin Man. So, like, the Tin Man somehow ended up at Al's Metal Compacting. I guess no one oiled him for a while, so they just threw him away. And he dropped his heart. This one is this one is I don't know why I said that, but this one is a family of cyclopses, and they're eating breakfast, and they're being squirted in the eye by their grapefruits. And it says the Cyclops family at breakfast. This one is so it's a man and a woman in a house. The woman is looking out the window and she's saying, "How cute, Earl. The kids have built a little fort in the backyard." And Earl is sitting in his easy chair looking out the other window, and he sees like this approaching like tribe of natives, I guess, that are gonna attack their kids' fort. This one's two monsters under a bed, and there's a kid in top of the bed, and he looks scared. Like there's a kid in bed, and there's monsters under his bed. And one of the monsters is saying, "I've got it again, Larry," an eerie feeling like there's something on top of the bed. So I guess monsters are also afraid of us. This one is like a Buddhist cow monk counseling a cow, and it's saying, "And as you travel life's highway, don't forget to stop and eat the roses." And it says cow philosophy. He really likes cows. Nothing wrong, I like cows too, just saying. This one is it's a snake. It's a snake, and it's like got a very small space under a rock that really only a snake can fit in, but it's brought a human woman down there, and she's like crammed into the hole. And he's saying, "It's true, Barbara, you're the first woman I've ever brought here." But Barbara's being a good sport, and like they both look like they're having a good time. Maybe she doesn't mind. This one is a like, I guess it's an astronaut who is from the United States, and he's got a flag, and he's gonna plant it in this field, but it's like a plowed, tilled field, and there's a giant scarecrow with like tentacles and like mandibles and many, many eyes. So I guess this is a farm for creatures much larger than him. So he should probably get, I don't know. This one's a shark. You know how like other fish swim next to the shark to not be eaten? Like as they use the shark as like an escort. It's like two fish, and they're swimming next to a shark that's chasing some divers, and I guess they're swimming really fast because they're saying "wee." This one is a bunch of like meerkats or prairie dogs or something, some hole dwelling creature. And they all got like, one of them's got 3 eyes, one of them's got 2, but one of them's like elongated. One of them's got 1 eye, a huge lump on his head, weird nose. They've got misshapen teeth and hair and ears and stuff. And it says, "Warning, underground nuclear test area." So they've been mutated because they live on a nuclear test site. Okay. This one's 2 scientists. One of them has a a test tube stuck on his nose. And they both look really mad at each other. And the one with the test tube on his nose is saying, "Just pull it off and apologize, Cromwell, or we'll have to go out in the hall and establish this pecking order once and for all." So, the scientists have like an authority problem. I guess they are arguing about who's in charge. And Cromwell shoved a test tube onto the other scientists', I guess his superior's nose. And the other one isn't having, I don't know. Maybe he shouldn't be such a dick to Cromwell. This one's an old man feeding squirrels. Not the same one as before, but this old man likes squirrels and he's feeding them. But one of them has stolen his hat and is running up to a tree with like a hole filled with other hats. And he's saying, "You again!" So I guess this happens often, but he just keeps going back to the park. I guess he likes the squirrels that much. I remember this one. I think about this one sometimes. This one's another salesman comic, where like the salesman's gonna get attacked. But instead of a dog, it says, the sign says, "Beware of Doug." And presumably Doug is hiding behind a tree waiting for the salesman to come in. So I guess Doug lives there, but like he doesn't own the house. And he attacks people who come in the yard, so they put a sign. The next one is a bunch of fish in a fishbowl. And the bowl is spilling. No, the bowl is like... The reason I'm having trouble with this one is I don't understand the language, but like... the bowl is tipping over, and all the fish are on one side. Like, that's the reason it's tipping over, because the bowl is unbalanced, even though it's on a table and it has a flat bottom. And one of them is saying, "Trim the bowl, you idiots, trim the bowl." I don't know what that means. I guess, is it like trim the sails? I don't know, but I don't think that would even happen. Which I suppose is a criticism I could level at any of these comics. So that's a little unfair, but I don't know. I don't care for that one. This one is it's two old men, and it's two old men and two old women. I guess they're spouses, and they're about to like start an eating contest, and one of the women is holding a starter's pistol, and she's saying, "Now listen up, you both know the rules, you got equal portions, and we're going to settle this thing once and for all. On your mark, get set." So like this old couple, there's two old couples, and apparently they have frequent arguments about like who can eat the most. But like their wives are involved, because both the wives look mad. Like they are committed to figuring out who can actually eat more. And they frequently have disputes about who that is. And their wives get involved. So, I don't know. We'll see who wins. I guess we won't. This one is two cowboys in the desert, and there's like an oasis, but there's a giant squid in it, and like the giant squid is just barely in it. Like, it's not big enough for the giant squid, and the cowboys are looking at it, and one of them is saying, "Dang, wouldn't you know it, the only water hole for 100 miles, and dab smack in the middle is a giant squid." This is a bunch of flamingos, and there's two fat flamingos landing in the pond, and two of the other flamingos, well, one of the other flamingos is saying, the non-fat flamingos that are already there is saying, well, look who's here, finesse on wings. I like this one. This is, so it's like, we see from outside the house, a family inside. There's there's this woman, and she's at the window and she looks really happy and she's got her hands like this. Her kids are inside. They look ecstatic. Her daughter has got her hands in the air. Her son has got a huge smile. Her husband is like happily smoking a pipe in the background, like, and coming to join them at the window. And outside is a bird bath, and there's a bunch of slugs on it, and like there's slugs crawling all around their garden, and she's saying, kids, the slugs are back. I like that one. So sorry. I need to wash this. This one's a guy getting out of bed, and there's a giant post-it note, or it's just like there's a giant piece of paper nailed to his wall, so he sees it first thing in the morning, and it says, first pants, then your shoes. So this guy wakes up a lot and puts on his shoes before his pants. So either he or someone else has nailed this giant reminder to the wall to make sure he gets it right. At least he's trying to make a change. Some people never try. This one is two giraffes. One of them is fallen into a gopher hole. So like only the top of his head is visible. And another giraffe is saying, well, there's actually three giraffes, but one of them's just in the background. But one of them is saying to the one that fell into the gopher hole, you've got to watch out for them gopher holes, Roger. This one's kind of sad. This one's so it's like an eagle is returning to its nest with a fish to feed its children. But the egg has been smashed, and the eagle looks confused. And there's a giant fat cat crawling down the tree where the nest was. So like this cat ate the eagle's babies. I hope the eagle eats the cat. Circle of life. This one is a mailman. Well, it's two like scientists, and they're watching birds fly out of a mailbox that a mailman has opened with binoculars. And one of them is saying, this is it, Webster. We're on to the secret of migration. So they're studying migration patterns of birds, and I guess they've discovered that birds travel by mail, and that's how they migrate. I'm gonna check if it's still recording. Won't mind me. Yay. This one is, I'm gonna turn down the brightness. Sorry. Alright. I think that worked. Yes? Hey, okay, sorry. I couldn't see because I turned down the brightness. It better not go back up. I'm trying to save battery, that's why I did it, sorry. Because I didn't charge my phone last night, because I wasn't asleep. But I wasn't looking at it, because, you know, you're not supposed to get the blue light. They tell you that keeps me awake, but that's not what keeps me awake. It's psychological. I've tried to explain to them. I have mental problems. It's not about circadian rhythm. Melatonin's not going to work. Sorry. I have issues. This one is a guy in an overcoat, and he's smuggling an elephant Oh, no, he's smuggling a few things out of the jungle. He's smuggling an elephant, a rabbit, and a zebra out of the jungle. And a tribesman is there, and he's saying, "Just a minute, young man. What are you taking from the jungle?" You know, this is a good commentary on the rape of the Amazon. But so he's just like stealing animals. He's like shoplifting them, and the native man is mad for obvious reasons because he wants to keep them in the jungle. This one is a bunch of frogs, but one of them is deflated and is like flying through the air like a balloon. And one of them is saying, "Whoa, Stuart blew his air sac." This one's I like this one. This one's two elephants, and one of them is about to get into a bar fight with two guys, two humans. And the other elephant is saying, "Relax, Jerry. I'm sure he didn't know you were an elephant when he told that last joke." But like, he's obviously an elephant. Um, this is like native. I don't really know what this one means. So it's like it's in the background we see like the U.S. cavalry, and they're holding up a white flag. And in the foreground, we have the perspective of some some plains natives that are also holding a white flag, but like the chief has another white flag behind his back that says "fake out." So I think what's gonna happen is like they're gonna wait for the cavalry to get close, and because like they think they're gonna have a truce, but like at the last second he's gonna pull out the fake out flag so all the natives know. But it also could just be like he has two flags and he's not using the fake out one. I don't know. I think it's the first. I assume as this is the far side and it's essentially hell, that it's the bad option. So yeah. This one is some cowboys. One of them is just they're roasting marshmallows, and one of them has just shot one of the other ones. There's four of them, and the one that just shot him is saying, "You guys are both witnesses. He laughed when my marshmallow caught fire." Um, this one is I guess. So it's a man and a woman, and the man is reading a newspaper, and his wife is like nagging him, but she has a knob on her forehead, and it says, "During the night, and as yet unbeknownst to Zelda, Phil had installed a volume knob." So Phil doesn't like that Zelda is nagging him, or I don't know. Well, yeah, that's what it is. But like, he installed a volume knob so that he can control the volume of his wife's voice, and nothing else needs to be said. So it's like two old West parents and a baby, and the baby's taking its first steps, and it says Custer's first stand. So like, Custer's last stand, Custer's first stand. I really like this comic. This one's one of my favorites. I know I say that occasionally. I have a lot of favorites, but this one is pretty good. Um, this one's two. So it's two women in a house, in like their living room, and the door is locked because outside the door is like a giant bug, and the giant bug is trying to get in, and one of the women's really scared, but the other woman is going to open the door, and she's saying, "Calm down, Edna. Yes, it's some giant hideous insect, but it could be some giant hideous insect in need of help." And I think that's really nice. I really like that comic. It makes me happy. I'm gonna cry. The next one. The next one is you know how like people throw shoes at dogs when they bark? It's like a wolf howling, but a giant shoe is like descending from the heavens to crush it. I guess it's like God's shoe. I don't know. Or just like some giant individual wants this wolf to stop howling. The wolf is not giant, just the shoe. Maybe the joke is that the shoe is big. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I get it, but I don't know why the shoe is big. I think it could have been done with a small shoe. I like this one too. This one's two cowboys and they're about to go into a saloon. And most of them have cowboy hats, but two of them have like a bird sitting on a nest of flowers as a hat. And the two cowboys that are about to go in, one of them has the bird flower hat, and there's another person inside who also has one playing cards. And the one that's about to go in with the bird hat is saying, "I just can't go in there, Bart. Some feller in there and I are wearing the same kind of hat." I remember this one. It's a bunch of people. It's a plane, like it's a plane and it's going down. Like it's on fire. The pilot's dead. There's a bunch of people in the cockpit. I don't know why they're there. Probably not safe. But like the plane is about to crash. But there's like a toy poodle at the controls. And it says, "Suddenly, amidst all the confusion, Fifi seized the controls and saved the day." So Fifi the poodle is schooled in the piloting of large aircraft to the point that it saves all these people. That's a good dog. See? That's why you shouldn't throw shoes at dogs. This one is it's two archaeologists and they've discovered a Brachiosaurus footprint, and there's a crushed Homo habilis skeleton in the footprint. And one of them is saying, "What a find, Williams, the fossilized footprint of a Brachiosaurus and a Homo habilis thrown into boot." And there's a note next to it, and I bet the note's gonna be someone complaining about the historical accuracy because yeah, that's what it is. It's just someone being a dick. Someone's like, "Oh, you shouldn't have cavemen," and it's a comic. It's a comic. Henry W. Daniot, Center for the Study of Secular Humanism. He CC'd Carl Sagan. Yeah, I'm sure Carl Sagan, this is what he's worried about in 1983. I'm sure he's mad about the far side being scientifically inaccurate. Great work, Henry. Really fighting the good fight. All right, the next one is a baby at a cowboy bar that's just spilled its drink. And there's a cowboy next to it, and it's saying, "So, you must be the one they call the kid." We all get that one. I don't want to explain it. This is more gorillas. This one's two gorillas, and they're arguing, but like they're arguing it out loud in in English. So like gorilla, and they're being observed by a Jane Goodall-esque figure under a tree, and the apes, well, the gorillas are, so like they're arguing, they're speaking, they're not like speaking gorilla, they're speaking English, and one of them is saying, "Don't shush me," and I don't care if she is writing in her little notebook, just tell me where you were last night. So this gorilla is suspicious about the fidelity of its gorilla partner. But I guess the gorillas don't want this woman to know, like the human researcher, to know that they can speak. And that seems, it's a layered comic. Um, this one, Humpty Dumpty is cracked. The king's men are there, but one of them's fainted, and it just says, "It's Henderson again, sir. He always faints at the sight of yolk." This one is like a tourist and like a tribesman. I don't know if the tourist is running away from him, but he seems to be, I don't know if he threw the spear or he just dropped it. But they're on two different continents, and they're both like tripping, and the continental divisions are closing, I guess, and it says whump. So like an earthquake is occurring, and it's saying continental dripped whiplash. So they got whiplash because of an earthquake, but I really don't understand if there's a relationship between the tribesman and the tourist. Like, I don't know if the tribesman is chasing him with a spear or if they're just like supposed to represent two different continents. It looks like I killed a bug on this page the last time I read this book, and who knows when that was, but that's pretty gross. This one's Superman, but it's like Superman's domestic life. He lives in an apartment. He's sitting in an easy chair drinking a beer, and I guess Lois Lane, or whoever he is married to, is ironing nearby. And she's saying, "By the way, we're playing cards with the Millers tonight." And Edna says, "If you promise not to use your X-ray vision, Warren promises not to bring his kryptonite." So Superman plays cards with his partner and their friends, but frequently cheats. So Warren like somehow acquired kryptonite, and he brings it out, and I guess to kill Superman if he cheats again, and that's what he's threatening. This is two lions in the savannah, and they're letting people take pictures of them, but the people don't realize that, well, the people are in a car and they don't realize that another lion has snuck around back and is letting the air out of their tires. So I reckon they're gonna get eaten by the lions. This is three scientists, and they're trapped in their lab by a giant bug. And they're saying trapped like rodentia. So they're just like, I don't know what that is. Is that like the class or the family? I don't know what taxonomic rank rodentia is, but that's what they're talking about. I like this one. This one's a guy looking in the mirror, and he has a tree growing out of his head. And he says, "Wouldn't you know it? And always just before a big date." So I guess this happens to him a lot. I don't know. If I was on a date with someone and they showed up with a tree sticking out of their head, I think I'd give them a break. Honestly, I'd probably like it. The next one is a guy, and he's I like this one a lot. This one is it's a guy and his window's broken, and he's reading a note. And it said, so like someone wrapped this piece of paper, this note around a brick and threw it through his window, and it says, "Bricks thrown through your window? Call Al's Glass 555-1232." So I guess Al just goes around throwing bricks through people's windows, so they have to call his business to get their windows replaced. But I can't imagine they're very happy when Al shows up and they got broken windows. Is it still recording? It better be. I'm gonna check after this one. This one's a bunch of like knights or like medieval people in the middle of a battle, and one of them is waving his arms and going, "Hey, come on, hold it, or someone's gonna get hurt." This is Superman again. I know I said I was gonna. Oh, battery. Better still be recording. Okay, I think it is. Is it? It better be. Yes! Okay. Hello. The Superman is in a phone booth. You know how he is. But he's checking. I think what he's doing is I'm not really up to date on how payphones really like the cultural dynamic around payphones, but I think what he's doing is he's like checking the payphone slot for coins. I'm not sure. I never used, no, that's not true. I've used a few, but like I couldn't tell you what he's doing. He's in a phone booth, he's doing something to the phone. I think he's going looking for coins in the coin slot. But he's also changing into Superman. This one is like a U.S. cavalry general meeting with a Native American chief, and they both have really ugly horses, and they both look really mad at each other. And the general's native interpreter is saying, "Chief say, oh yeah, your horse ugly." The next one is three snakes, and they've put a kick me sign on a fourth snake that is slithering away. And I think the joke is that snakes can't kick because they don't have limbs. This one is there's three flowers. One of them is like shriveled, like it's been sucked completely dry, and there's a giant hummingbird shadow flying away. This one's a man and a cowboy in a bar, but everyone else in the bar is a buffalo. And he's saying, the name's Bill. Buffalo Bill. I don't know who Buffalo Bill is. I assume he kills buffalo. I know like Buffalo Bill is like a person, but I think they're scared of him because he kills buffaloes. This is Tarzan. The next one, this not the same comic. The next one is Tarzan, and he's swinging on the vines as he does, and he's all his like change, his keys, his wallet, his comb is falling out of his pockets, and he's saying, "Dang." This one's cave people again. They're all sleeping in a cave. I don't get this one. So, this caveman has woken up next to a cave woman, but there's a number of other cave people in the cave. And she's saying, "Go back, sleep, Thag. You only dream we live just so long, then die." I don't get it. I don't like it either, so we're gonna move on. This one's two aliens on the moon, but they look like the Americas. Like they are living alien beings, but they look surprisingly similar to like the continents of North and South America, and they're pointing at Earth, and one of them is saying, and if you squint your eyes just right, you can see the Zork in the Earth. So it's like role reversal, like we see the man in the moon, but they see the Zork in the Earth because they look like the Americas. Um, this is a bunch of cows in line to go into a slaughterhouse, and one of them is trying to cut the line, and the other one is, well, one of the other cows is saying, "Hey, you, no cutting in." This one's Ahab from Moby Dick, but he's a child, and he's at the pet store, and he's with his mom, and or his grandma or something, and she looks really old. But anyway, he's looking at a tank of tropical fish that are all black, and one of them's white, and it says tropical fish 15 cents, and he looks like insane with like angry joy. And his mom is saying, okay, okay, little Ahab, which one's it gonna be? And we know which one's it gonna be. This one's two sharks, and they're swimming below a human man sunbathing on like a floaty, and one of them is saying, well, shoot, I can never tell whether these things are done or not. So like they're waiting for him to finish cooking in the sun, but they can't really. The next one is a bunch of cavemen that were playing basketball outside their cave, but a mammoth walked by and crushed them. I know I'm not going really in depth today, but like I said, I'm sick and I really want to do this, so I'm sure you understand. I'm just seeing how much water I'm gonna read. Okay. This was so it's a detective, and he's gathered everyone in a room to like reveal who the murderer is, and and there's an elephant. There's an elephant dressed in human clothes. I don't think they know it's an elephant, and he's with them, and the detective is saying, and the murderer is the butler. Yes, the butler, who I'm convinced first gored the colonel to death before trampling him to smithereens. So like obviously the elephant did it, but the detective thinks it was the butler. Also, I forgot my phone's kind of low on battery, so I gotta go quick. The next one is dinosaurs. It's snowing. They're laughing at a furry mammal. So it's like they're gonna die due to the cold and the mammals are gonna survive. The next one is, I like this one. The next one's a guy, and he's going to pet a dog, but the dog is in a doghouse, and the guy's going to pet it. And the dog has its paw resting on a chainsaw, and there's an old man behind the man who's gonna pet the dog, and he says, I wouldn't do that, mister. Old Zeke's liable to fire that sucker up. So I guess like when people pet old Zeke the dog, he attacks them with a chainsaw. This one's a man. It's a skeleton that's been crushed by a tree that a beaver had gnawed, so it fell over. But the skeleton was setting up a beaver trap when a beaver gnawed the tree to fall on him. So yeah, so like the beavers got him before he could set up his beaver trap. This one's some cowboys, and they're about to hang this guy, but they forgot the rope. And there's this old woman, and she's got her purse. Well, she's not old, but there's this woman, and she's got a purse, and she's saying, "Well, good heavens, I can't believe you, men. I've got some rope," and she's taking a big coil of rope out of her purse. This one's some astronomers. One of them's looking into a giant telescope, but he's got a ring of black around his eye. And he looks mad because there's two scientists walking away with like a Sharpie. So they pranked him. I'm going to see if it's still recording because of the battery. Okay, it is. Sorry I keep doing that, but maybe they should make a phone that works. There's birds in a tree. And there's a booth set up, and it says invertebrate taste test. And one of them is saying, nope, I don't like that at all. Too many legs. So they're just like giving birds free samples of invertebrates, I guess. This one is a bunch of astronauts. I suppose it's Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and the other one, Michael Collins? No. Is that the Irish guy? I don't know. I don't remember the third one's name. But they're getting at, they're racing, and one of them is stepping and he's going first. So like they all wanted to be first, and they all crowded out. But I guess Neil got there first. This one is a bird that is flown into a window. This one's hard to describe. It's like a building with a window, and the bird flew into the window, but it is told through words. So like there's a line leading toward the window that says flap, 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 and then the window says bonk, and then we see the bird falling, and there's a line leading away from the window that says swish. So like very visual comic. Difficult to describe. I guess all of them are pretty visual. And you might be thinking, why read them out loud at all? Why do this? And you can go fuck yourself. This one is some bugs walking through the grass. And I guess they're like the Wizard of Oz, because they're going spiders, scorpions, and insecticides, oh my. Spiders, scorpions, and insecticides, oh my. The next one is this one's it's a banana and a carrot, and they're trying to pick a fight with a guy in a bar. And he's saying, "Oh, is that so? Well, if there's anything I hate worse than a big stupid carrot, it's a big stupid banana." Me too, buddy. I like that one. This one's two zombies, and they're like visiting a couple. It's another good. Well, it's not. It's not as good as the other ones, but it's another visitor comic where like the neighbors have their neighbors over, and it's two zombies, and they're looking at their neighbors, and it says, one of the woman of the house that the zombies are visiting, she's not a zombie, neither is her husband. Is saying, "What did I say, Alex? Every time we invite the zombies over, we all end up sitting around and staring at each other, because they're the living dead. They can't speak." This is two ducks in the city, but they've just crashed their car into a traffic light, and everyone's staring at them, and the driving duck is saying, "Well, don't look at me, idiot. I said we should have flown." So I guess they were gonna fly somewhere, but one of the ducks wanted to drive, and it didn't go well. This one is some birds. This is basically the same area of the comic I just read. It's two birds in a nest, and they're climbing out of the nest. They're in a nest in a tree that is on fire, and they're climbing out of the nest with like a sheet rope, because I guess they don't know they can fly, and it says "stupid birds." Alright, two more. The next one is two scientists. One of them is building a nuclear missile, and the other one is about to pop a paper bag behind him and scare him. And I guess he's gonna. And the one that's building the missile has a hammer, so like the bag is gonna scare him, and he's gonna hit the hammer, and so as I guess set off his nuclear weapon. This one is like a car has stopped to let a family of ducks pass, but there's a snake following the ducks, eating each of the babies all the way up to the mom, and it's smiling like scarily into the car. This one is some cowboys. They're all looking up, and they're saying, well, there it goes again. Every night when we bed down, that confounded harmonica starts in. So it's like a riff on the old like cowboy movies where like there's a harmonica playing when they go to bed. But like they hear the harmonica but they don't know where it comes from, and every time they go to bed it plays, so they're confused. This one is it's like a man lost in the desert, and he's stumbled upon an ice cream truck. And the ice cream man is going through what he has, and he's saying, let's see, no orange, no root beer, no fudgesicles. Well, for crying out loud, am I out of everything? So, you understand. He found an ice cream truck in the middle of the desert that he's been lost in, and he probably hasn't had any food or water for days. And he thought he found salvation, but I don't think so. Maybe the ice cream man can give him a ride home. Remember the bears that got trapped in the circus? This is more bears in the circus, but they've just like figured out a way to just take the muzzles off, because one of them is saying, hey, these things just snap right off. So like they're just gonna escape and kill the guy that captured them, which is good, you know, they deserve it. This one is two aliens, and they've landed on Earth, and they're talking to a big crowd of humans, and they've got an English to Zexum translation book, and the caption is, "Take me to your stove, you idiot! Give me that book." So like they've mistranslated. You get it. This is the last page. Sorry, I'm just trying to rush through because I'm worried about the battery. I don't want to cut off and have to do this again. This one is, it's two baby birds, and the nest is built on a sign that says danger, low-flying aircraft. And it's 3 panels. In the first one, there's like a plane shadow on the ground, and they open their mouths for food. Second panel, nothing. Their mouths are closed. Third panel, there's another low-flying aircraft, and their mouths are open again. So whenever the low-flying aircraft pass over, they think it's a mother bird coming to feed them, but it's just a plane. This one's a spider, and the middle of its web has been like destroyed. And the spider just looks sort of like worried. So I guess something big flew through its web. This one's Quasimodo, and he has a pillow tied around his head, so like he doesn't have to hear the bells. And there's a guy there, I guess his boss, and his boss looks mad, but also kind of like happy, and he's saying, aha, my suspicions confirmed. So, like, I guess he doesn't want Quasimodo to have the pillow tied around his head. I don't know why. I'm sure it doesn't affect his ability to ring the bell. This one's a traveling salesman or something. Or maybe he's just like a guy with a suitcase. But he's trying to come into this cave woman's cave. He's a caveman. And, she's saying, I said I wasn't interested. Now please remove your foot from my cave. This one's a man on a desert island, and he has help spelled out in the sand, and nearby there's a duck stranded on a similar desert island that has quack spelled out in the sand. I like that one. Um, I like this one. This one is two women and outside, and they're just having like coffee in their house. Um, or I think one of them's visiting, because and outside there's just like this guy in a weird costume with like a fake nose and a propeller hat, and he's got his arms pressed against the window and he's smiling and staring inside. And one of the women is turned around to look at him, and the other one is saying, "Oh, that's Bernie Harrison from down the block. Bernie has lost his mind." So I guess they just have accepted that Bernie has lost his mind, and they just like him for, or I don't know if they like him, but they have accepted him for who he is. This one's like a painter, and he's painting a landscape of a forest, but it's on fire, and like he's painting it so that it's on fire, but he's got a box of matches next to him. So I guess he started this fire because he wanted to paint a forest fire. And this is the last one for today. It's two astronauts in like the space capsule, and they're about to fly into the sun. And they're saying, "Blast! The controls are jammed. We're headed straight for Mr. Sun." Alright. Well, that's all I'm gonna read for today. I hope it's still going. The battery's about to die, so that's kind of why I ended. So yeah, I'll try to get this uploaded quicker than last time. All right, bye. Sorry I'm sick.